Oil and gas companies use seismic surveys to make maps of the geology below the seafloor, and this can be up to 5-6 kilometers below the seafloor. In order to do that, we need a very powerful seismic source with big compressors, with a huge ship. And the ship is towing cables that are, have a lot of seismic sensors all along the cables. The cables can be 10 kilometers long and maybe up to 20 cables. So this requires a ship with perhaps 10 megawatts of power. It's a small power station on this ship. What CGG would like to do one day in the future is to replace those cables by a swarm of autonomous underwater vehicles, each one with its own seismic sensor inside. That's a lot easier said than done, and there is a lot of technology that needs to be developed in order to be able to do that. So WeMust is contributing to this technology in a lot of different ways. One of them is acoustic positioning and communication, because when you have no cable, you need to be able to figure out where your AUVs are. You need to be able to tell them to move if they're not in the right place. You need to know whether they're recording good data or not. And all of that has to go through communication through the water, like dolphins or whales, using sound rather than electrical signals going through the cables, because we don't have the cables any longer. Also inside these autonomous underwater vehicles, they are just floating in the water, so they're not affected by a lot of noise that would be vibrations going through the cables and so on. So WeMust is also investigating new types of sensors that we could put in these underwater vehicles. Lastly, because the cables are no longer attached to the ship that has the seismic energy source, we can let the sensors move in a completely different direction to the ship with the energy source. So we can make the energy source move even perpendicular or around or across the array of sensors.